So I just got back from the Dominican Republic where I married the love of my life, a Dominican girl. So I guess you could say I'm Dominican now. Oh my God, the wedding was incredible. We had like 60 people there, an all-inclusive resort in another country. We had a white family, a Dominican family. It was like this culture clash. And at times, with all the chaos going on, I really felt like we were in a rom-com or something. I know Layla felt the same way. It was absolutely nuts. But overall, completely amazing experience. There was so much joy and so much laughter, which I feel like you would really expect from a wedding. But something else kind of happened, something a little bit deeper, and I don't think we really expected that. It seemed like by the end of it, almost everybody had come away with a different perspective on life, or, a new nuance that they had felt about something. It just motivated in some type of way. By the end of it, everybody was talking about their plans to do next and how we need to spend more time together. So I really just wanted to come on here and share with you what I learned and my new perspectives on life after getting married, and how I plan on moving forward as a husband, and kind of where my priorities are right now. Seeing some of my close friends who were actually in my wedding party, my groomsmen, my best man, these were people that I haven't seen in 7, 8 years. So being able to reconnect with some of my old friends really gave me a lot of insight and perspective. And it wasn't just me necessarily. It was my wife as well, because her friends were there and her family, and some of her friends she hasn't seen in as long or even longer than that, maybe a decade plus, right? So we're reconnecting with all these people for the first time in a long time, and I'm seeing, how it's bringing life out of her, and she's seeing how it's bringing life out of me in ways that, despite being with each other for almost 6 years, maybe we haven't seen, or you just see it in a different way, right? So I think the fact that we only had 60 people there because it was a destination, so it's hard for everybody to get here and there. I think that we had this group of people that really was able to touch us in a way that nobody else would have. And, everything happens for a reason. And I feel like this is why we had these specific people there to kind of nurture this wedding and nurture this celebration. It shows what love is all about. And we were able to then in turn show them what love was all about. And it kind of created this bond and this weekend that was just amazing. I don't know if it's because I've gotten older, but at like 31 years old, it was a lot easier for me to almost look at the group from an outside-in perspective, and to be able to even just see the joy that's coming out of me and my wife. When maybe in my younger years, I would have just chalked it up to having a great weekend, right? But now I'm able to actually see what is happening and grow from that. And I feel like this is kind of the reason why I wanted to come on here and talk. It's kind of inspired all of this. And how the change started in me was because I was able to see this group thriving and having such a good time, and bringing the best out of us. My wife and I, we work in entertainment. So it's all about who you know and networking. And unfortunately, in my opinion, when networking is involved, a lot of the times there's not really an easy way to make these connections that you're able to make with somebody that you grew up with a childhood friend. Because in the entertainment world and in the networking world, no matter how close you really get to somebody, there's always going to be that question of, what can I do for you? Or what can you do for me? And what can we do for each other? As opposed to an unconditional connection that you make with these childhood friends growing up that see you go on to find success, and then they stick with you and they rock with you, and no matter what, you know that these people are your ride or die crew. So for us specifically, because we got into entertainment, because we got into professional wrestling, we've had to move a lot, we've had to travel a lot, and also our own ambitions take us in other ways. So these group of people that were here are the ones that have stuck with us over time. They stuck with us when we were nobody, before we ever decided to step in any form of entertainment. But you see, now, all the connections that we're going to make and we're going to continue to make from here on out, there's always going to be a little bit of underlying whatever it may be, right? So being able to get around this group of people that unconditionally love us, they didn't want anything from us, we didn't want anything from them. It was a feeling that I feel like I haven't really had in almost a decade. And being able to experience that is what gave me this new perspective on how I should move forward and how I should treat people and which people are going to remain close to me and are going to be in my circle and which people really matter to me at the end of the day. Single me would have never understood how much I really need my wife. I think that going through the process of marriage and spending so much time together and looking back on where we started has shown me that, you know, what they say about your better half, it's true. And it's not even necessarily that it's better or worse, but it's another half. And I think that we go through life with so many thoughts in our mind, and we have this circuit that's wired to get us here and there. I like the word soulmate, or whatever the terminology is that you're going to use, somebody that you're kind of connected to in this spiritual way, because they complete that. So these half thoughts that you have, these things that you want to do, these goals you want to accomplish, having that other half really helps you get there in a lot of times. And I know that for myself personally, because I've done more in the past 6 years with my wife than I did in the 10 years combined before that. Because she's helped motivate me. She's helped complete the circuit, really. And I feel like that's what's key. So now I'm running and moving and accelerating and climbing the ladder at a rate that I never have before. And I really feel like I wouldn't have been able to do that by myself. A part of that was feeling my priority shift. As my identity changes, I feel my priority shift because you're so in tune with what you're doing before. You know, I'm interested in clothing and jewelry and having nice things, and we were getting all those things. But getting married has shown me that those are not the most important things. The family is the most important things. The friends are the most important things. My wife is the most important things, and my dog, which I'm trying not to disturb because he's gonna get rambunctious if he gets too excited, are the most important things. So my priority has now shifted to my family and how I can have a better life for all of us and make sure that we succeed and have the goals that we want to have. Layla and I always joke about how even though we're in our 30s, we still feel like kids sometimes. And I'm sure a lot of you feel that way too. But I'm not gonna lie, it feels like a little bit of that skin was shed this weekend. I think you go through these different maturing processes throughout your life, and one of those definitely happened for me. I'm a husband now, so I gotta take care of my family. I have to make sure my wife is good, that she's safe, my dog, and that's what Layla said after it. We're officially a family now, and I really do feel that. And that's a part of the priorities too, right? My priority is now making sure that my family is good. So that is my number one priority, and everything else comes after that. And I realize that when we do things together and we build together, if I put my family first, good things are going to happen for me because that's the correct way. That's the right way to do it. I think that as a man, and I'm sure not all men feel this way, but a wedding is something that you do because you're taught growing up forever that a woman wants to have a wedding and that it's just where the next steps go in a marriage, and you want your wife to have a great wedding and her to feel like a princess and all these things. But I didn't realize that the wedding was going to change my life particularly, because even though me and my wife, we had a great relationship before the wedding. Everything was going good. We've been elevating. We're not in a rut. We're in a good place. But you get into the routine as a couple of where you're going next and what you're doing next. So I think just being in that routine is why I just looked at the wedding like, oh, this is just another thing that we do as a couple. And I feel like maybe other people feel that way as well. Like, oh, a wedding is not that big of a deal because you're already together. We already see you together all the time. You're practically married. The wedding is a routine, right? But no, it's so much more than that. I don't think I realized that coming together ceremoniously in front of this group of people that had sacrificed their time to celebrate our love was going to be so impactful. But I feel like there's something to it. And maybe I didn't look at it like that before. And maybe I'm ignorant for that, or maybe I sound stupid now, right? But there's something special about a marriage. And that's why it's been done this way for so many years. I think that whatever we want to do in life, we usually dive right in, especially when you get passionate about something and excited. I think that's a very natural way to feel about things. Me being a professional wrestler, I dove right into it. I've given everything to it. Granted, I was a wrestler before. I grew up wrestling. I've always kind of identified as an athlete in that way. And going to the Dominican Republic, which I've been to before, I traveled to Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Mexico. But when we went to the DR for this wedding trip and I spent the time with this family and friends specifically as well, and I thought about these connections, I understood that maybe this identity that I had created for myself was pushing people away that really mattered to me. Because now I'm looking to garner fans and support from others, and these things are super important, and I have some of the best fans ever. But these close friends and family, I had pushed all that away to the side. So I think I realized that my identity isn't an athlete, it isn't a wrestler, and that's kind of the change that I feel happening inside of me. And I tell my wife, I'm like, it's weird. It's weird because I've gone on podcasts and I've talked before about how my identity is a wrestler, but I don't think that's the case anymore, and maybe it never was. But being able to see that and feel this has really taken off the blinders, right? Because now I'm able to maybe even come on here per se and talk to you about this, or talk to my wife about other business ventures that we want to do and explore other options in life. So being able to come around and fellowship with all these people was able to pull me back from what I was, because they're no longer looking at me like, hey, there's the superstar wrestler. Yes, of course, people make jokes here and there, and they like to support us and watch videos or whatever it may be, but they're just looking at us as friends and as family. And I think that was the thing that I kind of valued the most about it. And it's crazy, but we've been in this industry that we're in now for 6 years, and not one person from it came to our wedding. Now, that's not advice to say we didn't invite everybody in all of wrestling to come to our wedding, but we did invite some people that we felt were close to us, and we wanted to share that moment with them. But unfortunately, nobody could make it for whatever reason, and that's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm not holding it against anybody. Like I said, and like you've always heard, everything happens for a reason. So the only people that were there were these group of friends that maybe we hadn't seen in all these years, and the people that we spend the time with now were nowhere to be found. So that's how I realized that these people are the ones that were there for us. These are our people. Obviously, I don't know what your story is. I don't know what you've been through or where you're going. But the reason why I decided to share mine is because I feel like it's important for you to know that the people that you came up with in life before you find success, whatever that may be for you, are the most valuable connections. And I think they're really worth keeping, because you're never going to find anything like it again. Because once you found that success, people are going to be right on your tail coming for that as well. So the unconditional friends and love, I think it's worth it to nurture those connections, because you might not ever find them again. And if you do, from an old friend, maybe you send somebody off for a long time and then you bring them back into your life, it might not be the same, because we've now taught them that. We've made our distance. We haven't reached out. We're too busy for holidays, right? Too busy to visit friends. We're too busy to travel here, travel there. But that kills the connection. So nurture these connections with these people that you come up with in life, and at the end of the day, these are going to be the ones that are there for you when you need them the most. It was truly one of the most beautiful moments of my life. I'll never forget it. I can't wait to get back all the footage, and I'm just happy to be able to come on here and talk to you guys about it and about how it changed my life. Well, if you made it this far, I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. That's pretty much all I got. I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. I'm still learning. Maybe we can learn together. I don't know. I chose love. I chose the right person. And I think that I realized showing up for somebody else and yourself every day is the right way to be, especially when you're in a marriage. So if you yourself just got married, or you have any advice maybe for me, or anyone else, go ahead and drop it in the comments and let people know how you feel. And if you like the video, let me know. I have a few more things that I want to talk about. Maybe this will become a thing. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I just wanted to put my thoughts out there. And if this in any way helped you, you're welcome.